How are you feeling about a billionaire seizing control of our federal government?
I think the word coup is the right way to describe it. When you have oligarchs influencing our government to a way where it undermines the democratic processes, our federal workforce, protections for civil servants, that's a coup. Frankly, it's very sad to see not only Republicans giving complete weight to it, but obviously Democrats not doing enough.
What would you like to see the Democrats doing right now?
I would like to see more of them here. I would like to see more of them being harder in their language. Hakeem Jeffries released his 10-point strategy on how they're going to take on Trump. Half of it is just creating working groups, spewing some rhetoric, but not taking any legislative action. Freeze the whole process, use the filibuster, use the tools at our disposal, and restore faith from the American people that you actually plan on standing up to fascism instead of giving in to corporate interests.
Are you hopeful that the public pressure right now will encourage Democrats to do that?
I don't have faith that our government institutions are going to stand as strong. I think that this organizing, though, this grassroots organizing, is what's going to give them hopefully a back.
Yes!
So we need more grassroots organizations, nonprofits, community-level groups coming together in coalition, learning to work in coalition spaces, and bringing together actions like this all over the country, because maybe Democrats won't have a backbone by themselves, but we'll make them have a backbone.
Someone who voted for Trump, I'll say it, this isn't what we voted for. Trump went from God spared me to save America to Israel first and I'm probably going to hell. 10 months. That's all it took. Pam Bondi's out here talking about confiscating pew-pews, walked back on the Epstein files, and now pushing hate speech laws after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Same people who swore that hate speech doesn't exist. Fauci is still walking free. Undocumented deportations are down. AIPAC is literally bragging about owning our politicians. Nobody's been arrested for any of the Doge corruption or bribery cases. And still somehow a 40-hour work week still won't get you a 2-bedroom in any state. But we're the ones paying for another country's free healthcare and education. Now Trump's giving shout-outs to Miriam Adelson, a billionaire donor who couldn't even say whether she loves America or Israel more. They knew what they were doing. They put Trump in because they knew they could sell you control as less government, while expanding the same surveillance, the same foreign loyalty, the same censorship they used to blame the left for. This is not saving America. It's selling it.
Mass deportations of undocumented immigrants out of the United States does not create new American jobs. First of all, many of the jobs that undocumented people work at in the United States are jobs that are not really wanted by Americans. Seafood processing, poultry processing, picking fruits and vegetables in our farms are not something that a lot of Americans want to do, but people need to do that work in order to keep our grocery prices low and to keep food on our table. If we deport all of those people, our grocery prices are going to go through the roof. Also, did you know that undocumented immigrants generate almost $100 billion in taxes? They often pay local, state, and even federal taxes through what's called an ITIN number, or an individual taxpayer identification number. Deporting all those people means all of those resources that go to our government are no longer going to be doing that. And it costs huge amounts of money, millions of dollars, to try to catch, detain, and deport people outside of the United States. It also rips apart families, communities, and destroys businesses. Also, undocumented immigrants contribute to the American economy by spending the money that they earn here. They often go to grocery stores, restaurants, preschools, buy things here in the United States that generate jobs for Americans. Deporting them does not actually solve a problem. It actually creates fear, uncertainty, and frustration. And it also is immoral. We need to reconsider our immigration policy in the United States and create immigration reform and a path to citizenship, especially for people who have been here for years, have American spouses, American children. We need to give them a path to citizenship so that we can have a fair and humane immigration system. For more immigration updates, follow World One Law Group.
We are being divided along racial lines as our government is being taken over by billionaires. So let's continue watching these clips, and I'll be making my conclusions at the end of the video. So I always tell my viewers, stay focused, stay alert, don't vote for the government psyop. So let's continue watching these videos, and I'll be giving you details of how our government is no longer ours.
So when we get a real government back in the White House of by and for the people, there's a lot of things I look forward to seeing happening, I hope happens. But one in particular I really want to see. This King's Palace ballroom being built at the People's House, your house and my house, being funded by all the MAGA billionaire donors that purchased our government and purchased everything we do now. They're going to be putting bricks on this ballroom with the names of all the donors. Yep, they're doing that. Trump's doing that at your house, in my house. What I would want to see is all these bricks removed and destroyed. I'd want to see a big event made out of it with hundreds of thousands of people there. And it wouldn't be to own the Republicans, like Republicans always want to own the libs. That's their policy now. It would be symbolic. Us versus them. The American worker, everyday Americans, the American taxpayer versus the corporate and billionaire class. That's what I would want to see. And as a matter of fact, it'd be a double win if we could grab some of our MAGA friends and relatives and bring them to this big event. Symbolic event. Yeah, that's what I want to see.
I think we're watching the wrong Billionaires. I realized this on Tuesday when Donald Trump was asked if he'd consider letting Elon Musk buy TikTok, and he said, like, yeah, sure, whatever, but I would really consider Larry Ellison.
Is it?
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it, yeah.
And on your inauguration,
I'd like Larry to buy it too. I have the right to make a deal. So the deal I'm thinking about, Larry, let's negotiate in front of the media. Permit. So what I'm saying is let the United States give the permit and the United States should get half. Sounds reasonable. What do you think?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Mr. President.
He can afford it too. He can afford it too.
I feel like that moment told us everything that we need to know. In fact, I think there's an entirely different strategy going on here that nobody's considering, and I would like to explain it. Zuckerberg was never actually up for consideration for TikTok. I think Meta acquiring TikTok would have way too many antitrust issues, and honestly, I think at the end of the day, Donald Trump doesn't trust him. Like, I don't think he truly trusts his loyalty. Then we've got Elon Musk, the agent of chaos. He is doing what he does best, which is distracting everybody, grabbing headlines with all of his drama and pageantry. Then you've got Donald Trump, our queen. Yes, he's the most versatile, he's dynamic, but he doesn't work alone. He's the salesman of it all. He's orchestrating the deals. He's letting us be distracted by the shiny objects. Meanwhile, he's pitching Larry Ellison to be the next buyer of TikTok. And it sounds like it's probably a pretty high possibility considering Larry Ellison owns Oracle, which already is storing a lot of TikTok's data. See, Ellison isn't a household name, but that's exactly how he likes it. His company that he co-founded, Oracle, basically controls the cloud. It's the infrastructure that holds all of our data. It's basically a cloud filled with gold, and it's the only cloud I've ever heard of that reigns for just one man. He also bought his son, David Ellison, Paramount Pictures last year. For those of us in Hollywood, this was like a huge story. Paramount Pictures sold. Larry Ellison stepped up, put up a majority of the money, and was like, David, you'll run it. I'll be behind the scenes, and you can do the day-to-day running of it, and they merged Skydance over. See, what makes Larry Ellison particularly dangerous in comparison to Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk is that Larry Ellison doesn't crave attention, but he understands how powerful attention is. TikTok is the most powerful social media engine to shape public opinion and narrative. I mean, owning TikTok would be owning a lot of power. We are seeing in real time how these Hollywood PR professionals are having a hard time orchestrating narrative and taking control of the storylines that are going on. Now, imagine being Larry Ellison, who already owns all of your data and already owns Paramount Pictures and all of their IP and like all of the assets that come with it, like CNN, etc., and now owning TikTok. You see where the monopoly comes in here? This isn't just about tech, it's about how tech interacts with the government and how it wields influence and how it creates this new kind of monopolistic power. And to me, the question isn't about whether or not Larry Ellison is a better choice to buy TikTok than Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, right? The question is, why are we letting any of these people wield so much power? To be quite blunt, this kind of opportunity even being presented to him is absolutely deplorable. It is a deplorable representation of government. It just makes me laugh that Mark Zuckerberg's the bishop and he can only just run sideways, and that's hilarious to me.
The art of the steal, how Donald Trump just committed one of the largest thefts from the American people in history, and at the same time carried out one of the most severe acts of public corruption ever. How did he do it? On April 2nd, Trump announced massive tariffs on every single country in the world except Russia. He touted these as reciprocal tariffs, but we know that they were calculated with ChatGPT. He touted this day as Liberation Day for America, but US markets and global markets quickly plunged, erasing trillions of dollars from this nation's wealth, destroying Lord knows how many millions or tens of millions Americans' retirement accounts. What happens next was not a pump and dump. It was the opposite, a dump and pump. After the markets had been dropping globally for 1 week, Trump got on Truth Social shortly after US market opened on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and said, "This is a great time to buy." Now, at the same exact time, the United States Trade Representative was testifying on Trump's tariff and trade plan to the House Means and Ways Committee. And as he was testifying to our so-called representatives that the tariff plan was meant to bring back domestic manufacturing and bring on a golden age in America, an announcement came out from the White House saying that the reciprocal tariffs were paused for 90 days, which shot U.S. markets up 12%. So who made money? Was it just everyone? No. I know many Americans don't understand options trading, but it's a way to trade the direction of, a stock or an index, and it multiplies your gains. What we know is that right before this tariff pause was announced, the trading volume of call options, which make money when the markets go up, shot up. They skyrocketed to an amount that retail investors like you and me, regular American people, could not be buying. It was very blatant and clear insider trading carried out by very rich individuals who made out like bandits, making tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in wealth. The cherry on top was that the next day, Trump was talking to a bunch of his billionaire friends in the Oval Office and started bragging about all the money he had just made them.
And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
And on top of all that, Republican politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene was buying stock hand over fist that morning and made a ton of money. So just to sum, for 1 week, Trump crashed U.S. markets, which destroyed the wealth of the average Americans, and then tipped off his friends on Truth Social, maybe in other ways, to buy leverage into the U.S. markets to make billions of dollars of wealth back, while the American people were left in the dust. Trump and his friends made out like bandits with your money. And the U.S. Trade Representative, who is supposed to enforce tariffs, was left speechless in front of the House as he was mid-sentence defending Trump's plan to bring back domestic manufacturing to America. It's very obvious that Trump's plan with tariffs has nothing to do with bringing back domestic manufacturing. If you even have a basic understanding of the manufacturing base in America, you know that we do not have the means to build out our manufacturing under anything other than free trade. It's going to be so expensive. All the construction materials, aluminum, steel, is going to be exponentially expensive to build when you don't have free trade. The real way to build back manufacturing is do it under free trade and then in-state tariffs. Trump's saying that 50, 60, 70 countries have been calling the United States begging to take a deal. He's trying to sell this dump and pump as an art of the deal, when what it is an art of the steal. I've been saying it. Trump's here to fleece us. He's here to rob us. He's here to make the rich richer. Now, the last question is anybody who is involved in this scheme going to be investigated or charged? The answer is probably not. So who's going to hold these people accountable for robbing us? It's going to have to be you and me. Help get...
You know what I like about our government? We are being led by the majority. Yes, the majority. The majority of the minority. And what do I mean by the majority of the minority? I'll be telling you at the end of the clip. So let's continue watching these clips. They are really amazing. And I would like to give credit to all these creators who are making their voice heard. And you too, who is watching my videos, make your voice heard in the comment section.
So not only was it just announced today that U.S. taxpayers will be on the hook to pay for a $200 million gold-plated ballroom in the White House, but also that jet that Qatar is giving the United States, and that the United States taxpayers are spending $1 billion to retrofit, it actually gets to go to Trump when he leaves office. He actually gets to take it with him. And Chris Murphy, my senator, thank God for him, he tried to make an amendment so that he could not keep the jet that we are spending $1 billion on, and it failed 14-15 because every single Republican voted to allow Donald Trump to keep the jet that we are spending $1 billion on. And in addition to this, Trump's Rose Garden renovation is going to cost more than $100 million. So I never want to hear again about how much money Donald Trump is spending or saving the federal government when we have already spent more money this year than we did last year as a federal government. The Department of Homeland Security has already spent their entire budget. The Department of Defense doesn't even know what their money is going towards. And Donald Trump is spending more than $1 billion, not to mention the $10 billion that we just spent for him to fly to Scotland to play golf and open up a new country club. We have spent billions of dollars giving Donald Trump whatever he wants to make his life better, while he has continued to cut cancer research, Medicaid, food stamps. People who are the most vulnerable are hurting while he is spending billions of dollars trying to make his life easier and better and more golden. And it just is so sad that people support a man who is spending billions of dollars of taxpayer money to take advantage of them.
So Trump's been back in office for like 6 months now. So let me ask you something real simple. What has he actually done that's improved your life? Not what has he done, like press conferences and executive orders and golf. What has he done for you? When you wake up in the morning, do you think, wow, I only have this job because of Trump? So is your pay higher? Did your rent go down? Interest rates drop? Is gas under $3? Or is your entire benefit from his presidency just a steady stream of made-up wins quoted by Fox News, and you thinking you're owning the libs on social media? Because the world is laughing at him, and by extension, they're laughing at you. Our foreign relations are a fucking joke. Allies don't trust us, and you know damn well his own staff talk shit about him in private, the same way he talks shit about how dumb his supporters are. You're not clinging to results, you're clinging to your identity, and that's the problem. When your politics become your personality, failure doesn't feel like failure anymore. It feels more like betrayal. So instead of asking, is my life better? You're out here asking, is Trump making the Democrats mad? You can't admit this is all a mess, because admitting that means questioning you. And questioning you means maybe the liberals weren't the enemy after all. Maybe the whole thing is a con, and that's too painful. So you double down. You pretend this chaos is leadership. You pretend your struggle is someone else's fault. And you call it strength, but it's not strength. It's a trap. And the only person winning is the one holding the con. And if you want to follow me on any of the other platforms, all my links are in the bio. Remember, I'm not the dark left. Together, we're the dark left. Please join me in helping to call out the bullshit and bring some sanity back to the conversation.
This is how all empires end. They've hijacked our country. They've hijacked our treasury. And instead of investing money in our own country, China actually does that. They invest in their own country. We're not doing that. The people who run the country, the handful of billionaires, are just sucking the treasury dry. And they just keep printing money, and they will not invest because they don't care. As George Carlin said, they don't care about you. They don't give an F about you. They don't care. And he said it over. Remember in that special, he kept saying, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. You don't have elected officials. You have owners. There's an owner class, and they own you. And they're coming for your Social Security. And that's also happening. They're coming for your Medicaid. And anyway, again, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. They're not doing what they said. They're not balancing the budget. They're not giving us free speech. They're not reining in the Pentagon. They're ramping up the Pentagon, and it's on steroids. And again, they're not investing in your own country. This is how all empires end. And we're ending.
Listen, I'm not naive enough to say everyone born in America has equal opportunity, but here are the 8 richest men in America. 3 immigrants, 1 born to a single teenage mother, 1 adoptee, 2 perfectly middle-class kids and only 1 born in wealth. That's capitalism. But capitalism in America is currently under fire. A Gallup poll just showed only 54% of Americans support capitalism. You need proof? Lead New York City mayor candidate Mamdani is a self-proclaimed socialist. America fought the Vietnam and Cold War to protect capitalism. What's changed? Under capitalism, individuals own businesses and keep the profits. Whereas socialism, society collectively owns resources and redistributes wealth. Why the shift? It's because the U.S. currently faces the widest wealth divide in history, making things like houses unaffordable. Young people specifically are the ones feeling shut out, feeling like redistribution of wealth sounds better than the grind it takes to earn it, turning to socialism. Here's the truth. Capitalism works because of incentives. It rewards individuals who take calculated risks like starting businesses with potential for outsized returns. That drive built America's prosperity and attracts the most talented people in the world. Socialism strips away that incentive. When effort and reward are disconnected, productivity collapses. Because it rewards hard work, capitalism is at the core of every prosperous nation throughout history. Why are we seeing this rise of socialism?
So this is a question that I answered in my previous video. Thank you for watching my video to the end, and let's us make our conclusion. My name is Anthony. Now, why is there a rise in socialism among our young generation? Why? The answer is crony capitalism, favoritism, and corporationism, or what do we call it? Or corporate greed, in short. You know, if the terms are hard to pronounce or come into terms with. So corporate greed, favoritism, and crony capitalism is what is making our young generation turn into socialism. Because in the past, there was capitalism, the United States of the past, whereby we always celebrated individual brilliance. When you are talented or when you are good at something, maybe business, you could start something and people would buy your ideas, your thoughts, your services, and you would excel. And that was the American story, but not anymore. Why? Our government, our president is not promoting general welfare. He's only promoting the welfare of the billionaires. What is the reason for the billionaires to get tax cuts? What? Why? That means if you are a small business owner who is trying to make an edge in the same market with the billionaires, you can't make it. Why? The government isn't favoring you. It's favoring the billionaires. So much lobbying in Washington, D.C. And I usually tell my viewers, it's either you vote Democrats or Republican. Either way, you must lose. But the corporates will never lose because they have funded both sides. And I usually tell my viewers, don't blame the billionaires. Never, never blame the billionaires. Let's look at Microsoft. In the 90s, they had no lobbying in Washington. And they were the best company in the world. But the government, through these regulations, through these court cases, forced them to have lobbyists in Washington, D.C., so that laws which favor them can be put into effect. So the government usually forces these companies to have lobbying groups in Washington, D.C. Why? Because when these cases appear, when they are being summoned, and maybe they lose these cases, it costs them billions of US dollars. So to prevent that, they have to have their representatives in Washington. And why does the US government design these corporations to have lobbyists in Washington, D.C.? Because our members of Senate and the House are corrupt. That's a way for them to earn an extra buck. Yes, not a conspiracy. That is the old plan. That's the old truth. I usually tell my viewers, beyond the screen, that's where the truth lies. Beyond the horizon, that's where the truth lies. Don't view things plainly. No. Think. Watch and think. Our members of House, our members of Congress, they force these lobbyists to have their representative in Washington so that they can demand money from them. Is there evidence of that? Yes. Members of Congress and members of Senate are worth millions of US dollars. Where do they get their money from? Insider trading. From which companies? The same companies. After they are out of power, where does these members of Congress get their jobs? From the same corporations. Our regulation agencies. After maybe you retire from a regulation agency in US, where do you get your job? From the corporations. It's all a hamster wheel. And who is on the outside watching as the circus goes on? Me and you, the common voter. We are being forced to believe that the government is for us. The government is never ours. It has never been since the times of Ronald Reagan. Eisenhower did something good, but Reagan, scammer. Anyway, all the Republican presidents. So what I usually tell my viewers is stay alert, stay focused, don't fall for the government psyop. Watch blue, listen blue, vote blue. And until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.